And at 9, Cassidy. The mysterious identity of Golden Freddy has been bothering us for the better part of a decade, so it's obvious that finding the name of the child who possesses him would be a grand challenge. Well, in the security logbook we found that challenge. A whole book dedicated to revealing the identity of the one you should not have killed. In the book there are numbers constantly out of place, and each page that has numbers incorrect also has faded text saying my name. However, this isn't Michael writing, since he writes in red, so obviously it must be someone else. Something else. Golden Freddy. Putting the number clues together we get 5, 2, 3, 9, 1, 5, 7, 2, 10, 11, and 8, 11. Which, as user DPowerful1 on Reddit pointed out, if you use those numbers as coordinates in the word search you can spell out the name Cassidy. This was shown to be correct with the constant use of Golden Freddy's signature line of "It's me" used over and over in that word search, plus now that line of "It's me" makes a hell of a lot more sense. It's me, the one you shouldn't have killed. Cassidy was also mentioned by name in the final FNAF novel, The Fourth Closet, described as a girl with black hair, and the only human child in the logbook is a girl with black hair. Being given cake by the puppet who is trying to give her her happiest day as suggested by the question on that same page, but also relating to the happiest day minigame where we try and settle Golden Freddy's soul. And at 8, Dream Theory. Most of you had heard this one before. Everything we've seen in these games is a dream. Sure, Help Wanted gets kinda meta and kinda puts this theory to bed, but what if the things we are seeing are still a dream? What if it's not the crying child in his home or hospital room waking up every morning? What if it's William Afton dreaming about the insane things he plans on doing, and how well it will work out? Well, to him it will work out well, because he's a lunatic. Time works differently in dreams. You can go a whole month of your life and then wake up and it's only been 6 hours. And sure, you're able to control your dreams, but that's very difficult to do because once you realize you're dreaming, you basically wake up. So what if he's only considering killing children right now? And this is his mind telling him not to do it, or to do it because again, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Or there is the other theory that we are still dreaming through Crying Child, where he's just now further into the dream, trying to justify what he saw so that when he wakes up he isn't terrified. Or he played the games and had nightmares about them, and now he's in the real world maybe? I don't know. And at 7, Moon Man. Cat's in the cradle with the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. There are plenty of theories going around as to who the Moon Man is. You know who I'm talking about, that little balloon boy looking guy that was hanging around in the kitchen during the PS5 reveal trailer. I personally think that it's probably just going to be another version of Balloon Boy, but others think that it's Glitch Trap's henchman, or I even saw one saying that Moon Man was Glitch Trap keeping an eye on Vanny, and it kinda makes sense. I mean, it was in an elevated position, hiding away, hoping not to be seen. It was also before her, indicating that they came before, but it was also on a higher platform, showing that it is above her. The only thing that kinda proves this one wrong for me are the eyes. If it was really Glitch Trap in the animatronic and not just the Moon Man, I think the eyes would be purple or green instead of red, but they're red, so I mean I don't really know. I just think it's a Balloon Boy knockoff.
Number 6. Playing as animatronics. Well, it's been teased based on the webpage that we could be playing as a female security guard this time around. The dialogue hiding in the source code of the Scott Games website seems to imply that there might be more to it than that, and this game could be changing up the format somewhat. Hidden in the source code appears to be a conversation which is happening between 2 people. "Stay the course," one of them says. "I will," the other replies. "Focus on my voice." "I will." "Don't let anyone lead you astray." "I won't." "Have you selected one?" "I have." The last part of this conversation could be in reference to you as the nighttime security guard selecting a character, possibly an animatronic which you get to use as a tool during the night to help you monitor and deal with potential threats in the mall. After all, this game will possibly have a bigger map than the others, meaning you might need to recruit some help in your job keeping an eye on the location overnight.
And at 5, Special Delivery. Last time I talked about Special Delivery, it was about it being an indoctrination into the cult of Afton. Perhaps instead, it's the game with the biggest lore hints to date. I have the game installed but I haven't played it yet, so I'm not entirely sure, but it could be a good theory. The guy who does the commenting in Special Delivery is the same man who is talking during Help Wanted. So this means that it is canon that they send animatronics to your house, and they do so while they know they can attack you. So this could be them trying to repair their reputation, but they never stop sending you animatronics after you getting attacked. So maybe they just don't care. The implications are incredible. So MatPat, get on it because I really don't have the time for this. I need to come up with 10 of these a day. You do like one a week, so passing it off to you. And at 3, Michael is not Springtrap. After MatPat made his video about the FNAF timeline, where he put everything he could together into as cohesive of a story as he could, Scott actually decided to confirm a few things for us about that video, saying, quote, "For those of you who were really upset about the idea of Mic Trap, or upset about the idea of Purple Guy being literally purple, or hung up on the 1983 versus 1987, watch MatPat's video." And since in that video MatPat says that William is indeed Springtrap, and provides all the evidence for such, you can all abandon the idea of Mic Trap. It's not happening. It's not Scrap Trap is not Michael. Springtrap is not Michael. Drop it. In a 2, special delivery indoctrination. In the few cults that I've been a part of, we've always had an indoctrination, something you must complete before being able to join the group and ascend to the next level. But what would a cult surrounding praising a man who sends animatronics after children do? Obviously make you need to survive them. And sure, there are the normal games, but those don't compare to real life. You need something more mobile and accessible. Everyone has a phone, and while it's easy to stay in one place, you can actually move around while using the AR on your phone, making for a more difficult challenge, but also a more telling test of your skill and problem-solving abilities. Plus, they gotta know you can kill kids. If you've played FNAF AR, you are now in the cult. Welcome. Finally, in at number 1, I always come back. William Afton, the purple guy, the man behind the slaughter, Glitch Trap, the man of many names, the breaker of chains, the mother of dragons. This guy has quite the rap sheet. Murder, manslaughter, kidnapping, more murder. This dude is a killing machine, but now he's actually dead, finally able to die after the soul of one of his victims left his body and entered the Stitch Wraith, where Afton's spirit then possessed a hard drive that was used to code the game FNAF Help Wanted, well, at least the game we playtest in Help Wanted, the Freddy Fazbear virtual experience, where he attempts to meld with our mind and no matter what, succeeds. There are many theories floating around about this man, but one of the more likely ones is that he will return. Somehow, some way he will escape. Perhaps we free Vanny from his control but instead set his soul free. Perhaps he'll possess Gregory and end up growing up once again, although he'd have to go through puberty twice. Maybe he will just manifest, we don't know for sure, but what we do know is that I always come back.
I always come back.
Number 10. 80s versus modern day. While many people are assuming that Security Breach is a new game when it comes to the timeline set in modern day, but for some reason taking place in what appears to be a very retro looking mall, it is equally possible that this game could be taking us back in time to the 80s, which might even make more sense considering that this seems to take place in a mall that looks like it's straight out of the 1980s in terms of its style, and that a quote unquote successful Freddy's location is still up and running. When do you think this game will be set? Modern day, or are we going back to the 1980s? Or will it be set in some other random time? Could you imagine like Victorian FNAF, but for some reason in an 80s mall?
In at 8, FNAF 4. MatPat's theories on FNAF have remained fairly solid, constantly referring to the same things that he's already established. But actually, there was one theory where he flipped everything on its head, when he proposed that the FNAF 4 house is actually Henry's, and the Mustard Man from Sister Location is actually Henry instead of William Afton. And everything we assumed that Afton was doing with the sound discs and making sure his kid doesn't go to Freddy's was all Henry's doing. There is evidence in the books to this, but if you want a better explanation, you should go check out Matt's video, because he does an incredible job and I really believe that this could be an actual thing. I also don't have the charisma he does, so... Since everything makes sense if it is Henry. His daughter is missing because Afton killed her, he locks Michael away so he doesn't end up getting killed, the footprints outside his broken window are Afton in the Glitch Trap suit because it's an older version of his suit. Hell, that could even support the fact that Glitch Trap is Afton, because he would have stored his early memories in the computer chips. Everything falls into place. It's incredible and it helps solve the timeline in one fell swoop. So let me know what you think below. Do you think the house belonged to the Aftons or the Emilys? Since in the books it's revealed that Henry's last name is Emily, which is weird. And at 6, Afton is in hell. Ultimate Custom Night is one hell of a challenge, but the fact that this game got picked apart so quickly is shocking but also understandable, since every time you die in this game you get a line of dialogue revealing more hints about the lore, and you die a lot in this game. Especially if you're going for that secret ending with like 49 animatronics all at level 20. Jeez. But these lines hint that we are somewhere that won't allow us to die permanently, only over and over, and somewhere that our character is not liked. Obviously we play as Afton, since even Nightmare Fredbear himself says these people aren't our friends, and Afton is the only character that deserves hell, like Henry says in the final moments of Pizzeria Simulator.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole, so don't keep the devil waiting, old friend.
That old friend is obviously William, since it was accompanied by the image of Springtrap burning, who is William, not Michael. And at 5, Withered Bonnie wants your face. In Withered Bonnie's jump scare in FNAF 2, we can see him reaching towards your screen, as if reaching for your face. I mean, he is missing his, and the other animatronics attack if they see an endoskeleton. But if he had an exposed endoskeleton, why would he attack another one, since they're one of his own? Withered Bonnie is also essentially reaching for the Freddy mask that you have on your head that you just flop down, maybe thinking he can use it to prevent others from attacking him, since his freaking face is missing. Actually, now that I think about it, what if the reason they're attacking you is because they can sense the remnant in your body? Maybe in fact you got scooped before becoming the night guard at these pizzerias, and now you look like you should be in a suit because Ennard is inside you, and potentially exposed. I don't know, it seems like a hell of a stretch, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Headed for Savior. The ability to pull Vanny out of her trance is an idea we've had from the start. This became more plausible when we see the conversation her and Glitchtrap were having in the source code of ScottGames.com, Scott's website, where Glitchtrap would say things like "don't let anyone lead you astray," indicating that he doesn't have full control over Vanny. Here is the full conversation. Stay the course. I will. Focus on my voice. I will. Don't let anyone lead you astray. I won't. Have you selected one? I have. Now I also want to mention something I don't think was there last time. The line "I won't" when referring to someone leading her astray has "I" and "won't" as two separate colors. Now a part of two different parts of the code. I don't think it was always that way, and maybe that's an indication of Glitchtrap losing his hold on Vanny, but that could also just be a glitch. There is also a font listed on the site labeled Verdana, which isn't actually used on the page. This is interesting because the name Verdana comes from the designer's eldest daughter Anna, and the word verdant, which is not only the name of Oliver Queen's club and arrow, but it also means something green, meaning that Anna, in this case Vanny, was possessed by something green, in this case Glitchtrap. I went into the history of a font for more information for a theory. Will MatPat notice me now?
Number 3, Remnant. There's been a lot of lore that has been hinted at but never specifically flushed out fully, in the games at least. One such bit of lore that fans are hoping will be more explored, developed, and might even make its way into FNAF 8 Security Breach is a substance or object known as Remnant. Remnant is a collectible material in the FNAF AR game Special Delivery that allows you to power up your animatronics. It's believed to be a material that is responsible for giving an amount of sentient life to animatronics who potentially do not even possess the souls of the dead. It could either be a collective of souls melted down, or it could even be made, as MatPat theorized, out of pure agony, which is then converted to Remnant and used as a power source of sorts. Remnant appears to be one of the substances used in the creation of the Stitch Wraith.
And at 2, FNAF World. I know the general consensus on FNAF World is that the game wasn't really all that good, and that's okay. But MatPat in another theory pointed out that the things we see play out in Help Wanted were established in FNAF World. Technology that can interact with the real world, code manipulating the outside. Those things happen if you linger on the first dialogue screen long enough to get the mission to find the clocks. You set up the clues that you find in the FNAF 3 minigames. That's why they're legit minigames, because you've entered the code of another world. Perhaps this world is where Glitchtrap's from. Moving away from the game theory and onto my own personal ideas, since Purple Guy in FNAF World talks to us saying he's not the purple guy we know, maybe he's not. But perhaps he's the one we end up seeing being put into Help Wanted after they took code from another computer chip, which could have had the remains of FNAF World on it, because he deleted it off Steam, but he couldn't have deleted the whole game. This is actually quite compelling now that I think about it, because it would be another Afton, but not the same one as before, and as we all know, he always comes back, but maybe not the same way. And at 10, the Puppet Origins. Ever since FNAF 2, we've been introduced to the puppet. We were trying to solve the question of how this puppet came to be. First, we thought it was the girl Afton murdered in the Take Cake minigame, and then we thought that it was the crying child from FNAF 4. However, the original theory was actually confirmed in FNAF 6 with the security puppet minigame's secret ending, where we as the puppet are looking for a child with a specifically colored bracelet who ends up showing up outside the pizzeria. We make our way out to her, but when we get there, she is already dead, killed by Afton on his way home from killing Susie, since we know that Chica was first and has seen everything. We crawl over to this girl, soaked and broken because of the rain, and we lay with her, then merge with her. And so Charlotte, the daughter of William's business partner Henry, merges her soul with the puppet in order to give gifts and give life to the others so that they can end William Afton's killing spree. I actually think that all of the minigames required for the Lore Keeper ending in FNAF 6 are a sequence of events that happen in one day. Willie kills Susie in the Fruity Maze minigame, luring her away with the promise of her dead dog being alive, then while on his way home stops at Fredbear Family Diner but sees Charlotte and kills her like we see in the Security Puppet minigame, and then heads home later that night as we see in the Midnight Motorist game, which is actually named Later That Night in the game files if you didn't know. In at 9, Mangle was made from Ennard. This really isn't a popular theory. In fact, most people really hate this theory, but the theory suggests that Mangle was made after the events that occurred in the minigames of Sister Location, where Michael Afton barfs up last night's helping of Ennard's spaghetti. This theory seems to point out that Ennard now has plenty of loose and missing parts that could be used to make Mangle. I mean, this is the kind of thing Scott would do. But it was revealed that Baby was kicked out and then she reassembled herself, so I don't really think this theory holds much footing anymore. But it's an interesting theory nonetheless. Even if you hate the theory, you can admit that you kind of believed it would be a thing. If I had seen this theory before the other reveals, I would have believed it. In at 8, Motherly Love. We don't know really who Vanny is, at least in relation to Gregory. She obviously knows him, but not because she's a security guard. She knows him better than that. I believe that Vanny, or Vanessa, will be the mother to Gregory, the child we likely play as. There are more indications of this being the case. One, the tone of the voice Vanny uses when talking to Gregory in the trailer. She knows him and she says that she has his friends. 2. Why would Gregory be at the Pizzaplex at night unless he had a reason? He wouldn't break in, he's not old enough to be able to do that properly yet. And I'm not gonna say that he's not that kind of kid because we don't know, but he's definitely not able to do it properly. He's there because he's waiting for his mother to be done her shift. But then that's when everything goes haywire. Plus it makes the betrayal worse. It would also make sense as to why we, I don't know, are calling the cops. There's a murderous bunny on the loose, but let's just hide in the stomach of this giant bear and not let the authorities know. I don't think this kid is that stupid, but at this point it's unclear.
Number 7. Security animatronics. Just based on the look of the logo for Security Breach, some have made the assumption that we will see 2 different types of animatronics in this game, or possibly one type of animatronic with 2 functions. Either we'll have entertainment animatronics and separately security animatronics, or these 2 will be one and the same, entertaining during the day during the mall's operating hours and protecting at night. However, does this mean there will be opportunity for certain animatronics to help you in your potential recurring role as a security guard? Or will it mean that you become the prey to this additional, perhaps murderous form of AI security?
And at 6, the next game. In the Five Nights Fan Games video, when I was talking about the joy of creation, I mentioned that we need a game where we play as William Afton and play through his story. At least the story that we know already. The killing of the children, the Revenant, then ultimately escaping and help wanted. But I said it should be a fan game. But it could actually be the next game in the series. If you think about it, it is entirely plausible. Scott always plans on clearing things up in his next game, so perhaps the way he clears up all the speculation as to whether Glitch Trap is Afton is by setting the game from his perspective, and only revealing its glitch trap after we close the door on the protagonist from Help Wanted. It would also make more sense to show us where everything is going since we've seen Glitch Trap escape, rather than reuniting souls or getting fired at the end, because this time we actually have a dramatic ending to the story and we will be following Glitch Trap's story in the future. So why not play as him? It would make sense in a canonical way as well as just storytelling. Plus, I really want to kill kids in VR, okay? Not in Skyrim. I want to do it in a bunny suit. Please! He gets out in every ending, so it only makes sense. And at 4, the crying child. When everyone was talking about Michael Afton being on a mission to atone for his father's sins, I thought they were talking about the crying child originally. Hence why I would always be so confused and only really got into FNAF when I was able to be explained with Remnant and him being a machine, which is weird because that somehow explained it. I didn't know that everyone thought that the gray-shirted guy who threw Michael into Fredbear was actually Michael. So I guess one of my theories was technically right. Even though it was just confusion and me not really listening or understanding, but later on it did get clarified and I changed my view. But then it got revealed that he was the crying child in the security logbook with the lines "the party was for you" and "was your favorite ride the carousel." The main one being "the party was for you," indicating that Michael was the child who got shoved into Fredbear at his own party and got crushed when his tears moistened the spring locks. Pretty freaking crazy. Just like this whole series. And at 3, the Cult of Afton. Another theory I saw from MatPat. In Help Wanted's Curse of Dreadbear DLC, you, at the end, are tasked with collecting 4 keys from a corn maze while Hollow Foxy chases you. Well, if you find all 4, a 5th one appears. A glitchy one. If you manage to get it, it unlocks a cellar, which looks like the barn that acts as the hub for the DLC. Well, this time it's torn up and looks like it's been decaying for years. And there's a bunny mask sitting on a table next to an unlit candle and a circle of potentially blood or candle wax. Well, put the mask on and your breathing slows and you relax, then the DLC is complete. When you head back to the prize counter, it's there and you can wear it again. But if you do this while holding Glitch Trap's plush, you start seemingly having a conversation with someone, but you can't hear the other. This leads Matt to believe that there is a cult forming around worshipping Afton, and maybe they are trying to bring him back from hell. And I mean, if Glitch Trap is supposed to be Afton preserved in code, we all know what happens at the end. I've already explained it. Gets out. Shh. And at 2, release date. My theory for the release date has actually passed at this point, so it could very well be that I was right. If I'm not, I'm sure there'll be a disclaimer or something. I don't need to do that because I know I wasn't right. Or you'll already know about it. Plus, if I'm right, then this whole video will be pointless because we won't need theories anymore, we'll have the actual game. Anyway, my theory was that the game should have been released on December 12th. I think this would have been the case because it was actually 87 days after the original trailer released at the Sony PS5 event. I think this would be a perfect time, and we all know Scott loves his dates. Not only is it 87 days after the reveal of the trailer, but it's also exactly 1 month after the PS5 released. It's during the holiday season where every kid will be asking for it along with a PlayStation, and Scott had done the whole 87-day thing before with the second FNAF game. FNAF 2 was released exactly 87 days after the first one as well, so in my mind this was a highly plausible scenario. However, if it was, like I said, this video would have been totally pointless, but hey, at least you realize that at number 2, right? But I also know for a fact that if I was right, so many people would be commenting telling me how these theories were wrong, okay? This was written before the game came out, and this actually it was written before it was recorded before the game came out. I can speak properly. And for those of you who don't believe me, watch our other security breach videos. I mentioned this theory there too. I decided to hold off on filming this so I could see if I was right, and I wasn't. So, but you already knew that because you started the video and it's already past Saturday. Time is weird.
Number 1. Clara Afton. People have theorized that the character who is advertised in the image on Scott's website is none other than William Afton's wife, and mother to at least Elizabeth and Michael Afton, Clara. Many refer to this character as being named Clara after the character who appeared in the soap opera the protagonist watches during his time off work in sister location, The Immortal and the Restless. Clara from The Immortal and the Restless is believed to be a character whose story alludes somewhat to Mrs. Afton. Some believe that in fact we will finally learn more about Mrs. Afton in the game, her life and death, and that we may even get to play as her. Her appearance, her blonde hair and green eyes are also referred to as potential evidence of her being the missing puzzle piece of a character currently referred to as Mrs. Afton or Clara Afton.
And at 10, Glitch Trap is William Afton. This one is fairly believable, so believable in fact that people actually consider it canon. However, there is no official canon source that confirms this to be the case. Referred to as the Spring Bonnie Man in the game files and the Anomaly by Tape Girl, Glitch Trap is a name given to that bunny rabbit thing by fans of the series, who linked the character to William Afton because of the golden Bonnie suit, which Afton used to kill children, the game file being called Spring Bonnie Man, his purple glowing eyes, and his similar mannerisms to William Afton. It is generally believed believed that Afton was able to get himself in the game by linking his memories with a circuit board that got scanned to eventually make the game. However, his soul is stuck in hell in Custom Night. While others may think that Glitchtrap is Afton, which is a reasonable assumption, don't think it canon yet until it gets confirmed, because we all know that Scott loves to throw wrenches into the lore, especially with this game. Like, jeez, just retcons everywhere. And at 9, friend or foe. While we all know that Glamrock Freddy is going to be our ally, this was made evident thanks to the Funko statue or figure or whatever you want to call it. But while we see Glamrock Freddy helping us, the same doesn't remain true for the others. We have no idea what Roxanne Wolf or Montgomery Gator will do for us, if anything. It could be that Vanny has corrupted them, since William is a form of code, or it could be something else entirely. They could just think that we're trespassing after hours. They certainly don't need to be corrupted. At this point, it's just highly likely that they are, or will be at some point in the story of the game. We've only been shown that one of the animatronics will be helpful, not necessarily the others. We won't know for sure until the game comes out. And at 7, William Afton is Glitchtrap. While this may not have been confirmed by Scott Cawthon yet, in my opinion it's basically been confirmed. While everyone assumed that the character in the game files known as Spring Bonnie Man was William Afton due to his similar costume and the name in the game files, it was mostly just a well-supported theory and speculation. However, with the Curse of Dreadbear DLC, it has basically been confirmed. While in the main hub for the DLC, you can see the house from FNAF 4's menu on the horizon, and if you complete a series of tasks in blacklight mode, you can actually spawn Glitchtrap dancing on top of the hill near the FNAF 4 house. While this in of itself could be enough, I think the real kicker is the car. The way you get this Easter egg is by pressing the button on the monitor and then looking at the car for 10 seconds. And it has to be the car, just looking away won't do it. Before you do this, however, the car's lights are white like normal headlights. However, after the Easter egg is activated and you return to normal mode, the car's headlights change to purple. Scott always makes it a point to clarify things in his next game, and this is his way of showing us that Glitchtrap is none other than Purple Guy himself, William Afton. The car headlights are purple. What more do you want? It's probably his car from Midnight Motorist. 6. The movie isn't real. We all know about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie supposedly in development by the same studio that made Paranormal Activity, but what if it's not really gonna happen? I can see something like this playing out where instead of making the movie, they say that workers died on set, causing them to halt production, and while it may get some bad press, a series about dead children possessing animatronics having real deaths associated with it would be incredible press nonetheless. Especially when the deaths are actually fake, because they only wanted to use the movie as a boost to like the games in the book. We haven't even gotten any word on the potential plot for the better part of a year, at least to my knowledge. And maybe the studio got the rights to the movie since they know how to handle paranormal press, or they have a guy who can do that, something like that. I don't know, I just think that this movie would make a boatload, and since Scott loves rushing out games and books every other month, it's a surprise he hasn't made this one come out yet. Like, come on. And it's damn suspicious if you ask me. Like, what are you doing, Scott? Come on. Halfway through number 5, VR. There are plenty of theories about security breach in virtual reality. Some think it will happen later down the line, others think it won't happen at all. I just hope that I get VR laser tag, that's all I want from this game. Some think the games will be ported to VR later on, since it's coming out on PlayStation, a console that is partially known for having VR support, the only one out of the big 3 to do so, may I add, with exclusive VR games like Iron Man VR, which I still want to play, but also because the last VR game was such a big success. I can't see them throwing away such an opportunity, especially if people like the game and want it to be in virtual reality. Plus, from the looks on their website, this is the first time Steelwool Studios has worked on a non-VR game, which to me indicates plans to add VR compatibility in the future, similar to how they added a FNAF Help Wanted flat mode after people were asking for it.
Number 4. Stitch Wraith Connection. In the books, a lot of FNAF lore has been expanded and even added in, with some of it connecting directly back to characters or stories in the games, but most of it remaining separate. Many fans are wondering though if FNAF 8 will be the game to connect the two worlds with a common character, one that appears in the books and is known as the Stitch Wraith. Well, it seems like the books still have a lot of story left to tell with this character that is slowly eking out with each new Fazbear Fright book. It is possible we could finally see this character connected to the FNAF games themselves in Security Breach, possibly via Easter eggs or a hidden game or cutscene. Considering the story might also be taking place in the past, it is possible we could even see the creation of Stitch Wraith come up at some point in this newest game, or a time-displaced version of the character who perhaps time-traveled back to the small location via the time-traveling ball pit, mentioned in Fazbear Fright's first book, Into the Pit.
And And 3. Creation. This is a theory I saw posted in the comments of the last part of the series. Coming from Carvey16, they think Glitch Trap is a piece of living code in Help Wanted, which is true, and they also seem to think that he may bring every other animatronic within the game to life. Now, for some reason with this last game, it has opened the door to so many fan game tie-ins, but this sounds like it could be possible. I mean, if he can escape and materialize into the real world, potentially through your mind, what if he can bring the other animatronics with him? Sure, they exist in the world already, but he could bring them out into the real world, where Scott would have to fight off a horde in the style of Joy of Creation. I know it's a stretch, but if you want that as your headcanon, play Help Wanted and then go play Joy of Creation, and then BOOM! You have an ending to the series. Finally, in at number 1, William Afton is Purple Guy. This is an oldie, but a goodie. The character at first only known as Purple Guy has gone by a lot of different names. Purple Guy, the Phone Guy, Vincent, the Killer, Pink Guy. However, way back in 2016, MatPat predicted the name reveal of William Afton thanks to his mention in the Silver Eyes novel. Then once Sister Location came out and the name of Afton was dropped, he was fairly clearly happy about it. I would be too. If one of my theories about these godforsaken games ends up being correct, I may lose my mind. So while the fans of these games wanted to dismiss the books and treat them as an entirely separate canon, you can't do that entirely. Sure, some things are different, like his first victim being Henry's son Sam in the book, but in the games it's Susie, and the names of the original 5 children being different, it's still important to consider them when crafting theories. So while you may hate on MatPat or hell even hate the books for that matter, one of the biggest reveals in the game came from him and those books. So, take a chill pill, relax, and remember that it's just a theory. A theory that you don't have to believe until it turns out to be true. So don't hate, appreciate the effort that people go to in these kinds of videos. Jeez, don't hate. There's no... And at 10, Real Pizzeria. Before the release of FNAF 4, Scott Cawthon's website was littered with references to the numbers 8 and 7 in the source code. This caused many fans, and even dear old MatPat, to think that these were references to the year 1987, where the famous frontal lobe bite occurred. However, other fans believed they were coordinates, so after plugging them into Google Maps, which I honestly don't understand how you would do that, I tried it and it didn't work. Like, did you just put all the numbers in, or did you like put spaces? Like what? Whatever. After putting them into Google Maps, they found that the location it gave was an actual pizzeria. Obviously, once this got shared, fans of the franchise started harassing the place trying to get answers. And while it might have been all one big coincidence, someone might have caught on before. Kathy Blockus reviewed the pizzeria saying the robots kill. I saw a robot fox killing a kid before in there. Run for your life out of there. Alright. Grammar. This was left 3 weeks before FNAF 4 was even announced, which is when all of the 8s and 7s appeared on the website. While this is incriminating, they also left the place a 5-star review, so I'm pretty sure they were just fans of the franchise. But could they be related?
Number 9. The title. With many of the FNAF game subtitles, we've seen how much Scott Cawthon and his team seem to enjoy giving us a title with more than one meaning. In the case of Sister Location, the title was a reference to the fact that Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental was a sister location of sorts to Fazbear Entertainment and their franchises when they existed, as well as additionally being the apparent location of your sister's spirit, as you played through as Michael Afton, William Afton's son, and brother to Elizabeth Afton, who was killed by Circus Baby and whose soul was then trapped within that animatronic.
And at 8, the websites have conversations. Over the years, the way we found clues to the lore of these games has evolved. It started with reading newspaper articles on walls, then moved to analyzing minimum wage payments, and even went so deep as to investigate the real name of a teaser image using Notepad. But on the way to these extreme lengths, we started investigating the source code of Scott Cawthon's website. It started with the numbers 8 and 7 appearing multiple times, which led people to think it was about the bite of 87, as well as finding a restaurant on Google Maps everyone thought was the inspiration for Freddy's. One fan even went so far as to comment, "I saw a robot fox killing kids in there," even before anyone knew about it. But they also rated it 5 stars, so I guess they were probably lying. However, in between the release of Sister Location and FNAF 6, Scott's main 2 websites, ScottGames.com and FNAFWorld.com, had an argument where Baby basically got voted off the Ennard Island. Hence why she and Molten Freddy are separate again in FNAF 6. The theme of the website's talking has been used again. Recently it had a conversation with itself on Scott Games, where someone, presumably Vanny, the new killer, is talking to Afton, or the voice in her head suggested by the conversation we hear between the mask and Glitch Trap in Help Wanted. And at 7, Real Life Fan Game. The fan game The Joy of Creation is something I recently saw while researching another video, and it really intrigued me. The concept is that Scott Cawthon ended the FNAF series, and now the animatronics he created are coming after him for it. But what if that's what's happening? What if they are forcing him to constantly create more and more games, otherwise they will come for him? It's probably not the case, but what if something similar to this is happening in the games? Scott was the one who made the game in-universe as well, so what if Fazbear Inc. or whoever got him to make these games is sticking the animatronics on him to make sure he is producing as much as possible? Or maybe the animatronics on their own came after him when they learned what he was doing, thus encouraging him to make even more. And his friend in universe made The Joy of Creation as a riff on his games and his friend's experience. This is all speculation, so more of a hypothesis than a theory, but it's still an interesting concept nonetheless. And at 6, no animatronics. From what we can tell, at least to my knowledge, we don't have any other confirmed animatronics aside from the ones we've seen. Freddy, Roxanne, Montgomery, Chica, and Moonman are the only ones to be guaranteed to make an appearance in some way. There are a couple places that list others like Ominous Lad and Sun Guy, but these cannot be 100% confirmed. We honestly don't know if there will be others, and it would kinda make sense for there not to be. Since the Pizzaplex is closed, most of the animatronics would be off. It's not like these ones are possessed and able to walk around without being powered, which makes me wonder why they're on to help Gregory in the first place. Maybe the whole Vanny mess with them thing is possible, and potentially more likely. As a security guard, they would have access to the animatronics and potentially know their way around said animatronics, but as far as we know, there isn't anything else.
Number 5. Vanny. Another theory could be that this dialogue hidden in the source code on Scott's website is a conversation happening between Glitchtrap, the suspected main antagonist of the game, and another character who we know is supposed to be appearing in Security Breach and who recently was introduced in FNAF VR Help Wanted, Vanny. In Help Wanted, Vanny appeared as the reluctant follower of Glitchtrap. Glitchtrap is believed to be a digital version of William Afton and a virus, who became uploaded into the game during scans of old animatronic parts. Many believe that Vanny, seemingly spelled now with an IE at the end of her name as opposed to Y, according to a merching list, seemingly spelled with an IE at the end of her name as opposed to a Y, according to a merch listing with the characters' names that reportedly appeared on Scott Cawthon's copyright page, will be appearing in Security Breach as a helper to Glitchtrap, attempting to help him find a body, animatronic or otherwise, that he can possess. A voice demo on Jessica Tang's Voices.com page listed as video game demo scared, frightened, afraid, young, female follower, obedient, is believed to be a yet unused line of dialogue belonging to Vanny, who is played by Tang. The demo backs up the theory as it reveals Jessica potentially as Vanny saying, "I understand, I'll do just as you ask, and yes, I've already selected one."
And at 4, building animatronics. I believe that in a future update for Special Delivery, you'll be able to build animatronics. I don't believe that this is a feature as I'm writing this, but if it is, I apologize. In the game, you are able to collect naked endoskeletons. It is my belief that you'll be able to add on to them in the future, allowing you to make robots to help defend yourself or find remnant. This would also help establish this as being possible in the lore. We will do more of the Creating Dreadbear minigame, since that established the principles on how to do it, at least in that scenario, which may not convert well to AR, but still.
And a 2 FNAF 4 date. Using the same quote as last time, Scott confirmed saying that MatPat was right about the whole 1983 versus 1987 debate. And in that video, MatPat also talks about the fact that FNAF 4 takes place in 1983 as indicated by the television Easter egg and the secret cameras and sister location using the keypad combination of 1983, 1983, where the camera showed the different areas you play in during FNAF 4, Plushtrap's Hall, Michael's bed, and the closet that Foxy and Mango decide to assault. So basically, MatPat got almost everything right in that video. Scott also said it's obviously not 100%, but he really hits this video out of the park. Now it's only a matter of figuring out what he got wrong so we can fix it. Do it together. Yeah. Team power.
Finally, in at number 1, ignore Help Wanted. Now finally, I'm still talking about the Cult of Afton. Maybe they're trying to get him out. Maybe they want to see him freed from his prison and back into the world. But how would they do that? By telling you the exact thing you need to do to let him escape, but by making it seem like it will defeat him. And who in this game gives you the directions to stop Glitchtrap that in fact lets him escape? Tape Girl. Tape Girl also sounds a hell of a lot like the girl who speaks when you wear the bunny mask while holding Glitchtrap, and maybe that's who we're even playing as. But the thing is, we don't know how long she's been a part of this. She might have been the whole time, hence why she's describing seeing the tester as being covered in oil with a mask laying on the ground instead of blood and his face. We don't know if she's been planning this from the start, so we can't really trust anything she says. This is my own personal theory, and if she says that the company hired Scott to make a joke of things, what if she's only saying that so when William gets out, they'll be looking at the company and not him? Maybe Scott is just fighting for the truth of things. I guess we'll have to wait to find out. Plus, I know that it's not Scott himself in the game, but his name hasn't been revealed, plus it's his photo, so I'm gonna keep calling him Scott until such time as it is revealed. And at 10, True Nature. The true nature of the characters we know of in Security Breach isn't certain, but we can get a pretty good idea thanks to Funko. Now, Funko has leaked some FNAF stuff before, I'm pretty sure with either their sister location or Pizzeria Simulator figures, but nonetheless, they've not leaked new characters, but released figures that help us get an idea about what gameplay is gonna be like. At least some of it. The Freddy and Gregory figure looks like it's really showing us gameplay mechanics, with Gregory hiding inside of Glamrock Freddy's stomach, with Vanny looking at Gregory, reminding me of the final scene from that trailer. However, I think the biggest clue we can get is from the second statue, the one of Vanny and the unnamed security guard. Most people were already guessing that Vanny and the security guard were the same person, and this only lends to that idea. The guard is looking for Vanny most likely, but is totally ignoring her, while Vanny is standing, not hiding, with her hand over her mask's mouth. This is indicating to me that she keeps the other part of her silent, or perhaps wants us to, and the fact that the guard isn't very clearly looking at Vanny indicates that she probably doesn't want to find her. It's a basic Light Yagami and Kira situation. The one who's looking for the killer is the killer, therefore the killer will never be found. Unless they totally ruin the series, but whatever. I know a lot of people are calling the security guard Vanessa, but that's never been confirmed. And at 9, Competitors Games. Help Wanted gives us 2 different explanations for the previous games. One from the company saying that Scott made the games on his own, and another from Tape Girl who says that the company paid Scott to make them. Now, straight up, I don't trust Tape Girl. She gives you a combination of things to do that should have killed Glitch Trap, but it doesn't end up working, and if anything, resulted in you being trapped in the game forever. And I don't think that that was an accident. So what if the company is telling the truth, or at least as much as they know? The fan game Those Nights at Rachel's revolves around a rival to Freddy Fazbear's called Doug and Rachel's. Perhaps, instead of Scott making the games on his own, or Freddy Fazbear Inc. paying him in order to cover it up, what if Doug and Rachel's, or some other competitor to Freddy Fazbear's, paid Scott to make these games to advertise the deaths that they were so well covered up? I mean, it would make sense. We aren't thinking after playing these games, oh, this is funny, we should keep going to Freddy's. We think, why the hell should we bring our children here if so many kids have died? Sure, you may want Freddy's to be real, but that's because it isn't. If it was real and everything in these games really happened, you would be terrified to not only go out of this place, but set foot outside your home, just in case you got scooped out on the street.
Number 8. Glitch Trap. While it is yet to be confirmed, many believe that Glitch Trap will be the main antagonist of Security Breach, or at the very least be featured as a growing threat within the game. This theory has come out of the fact that we know Vanny is supposed to be appearing in some capacity. Vanny was introduced in FNAF VR Help Wanted as the reluctant, semi-possessed follower of Glitch Trap, and many believe she will be attempting to continue to serve the suspected digital version of William Afton in this newest game as well.
And at 7, Real Life Links. In December of 1993, after Chuck E. Cheese had closed in Aurora, Colorado, Margaret Kohlberg, the manager, is tallying receipts in the back room. While she does that, Bobby Stevens scrubs down the kitchen, and Sylvia Crowell, Ben Grant, and Colleen O'Connor all work on cleaning the main party area. However, there is someone hiding in the bathrooms, 19-year-old Nathan Dunlap. Earlier that year, he had began working as a cook, before getting into an argument over his hours, which resulted in him losing his job. He was looking for revenge. He exited the bathroom and began firing, killing everyone in the building. First Sylvia, then Ben, then Colleen. Then he went into the kitchen where the bullet entered Bobby's jaw, sending him flying to the ground. Then Nathan went to the back where Margaret opened the safe before being shot twice. Nathan filled her bag with $1,500 cash, arcade tokens, and keychains. Thanks to the security cameras, he was promptly arrested and sentenced to death thanks to the testimony of Bobby, who actually survived the shot to his jaw. I got this theory from Matt out of Game Theory because it was really interesting. And while it may not be true that the stories are linked, I still think the stories are so close it's impossible not to think about. Halfway through number 5, FNAF World Clues. Admittedly, this wasn't really a theory, just more of a good eye. But after the main story of FNAF World was discovered, where you find the clock and put the pieces in place for the player in FNAF 3, people figured out what that was fairly quickly. Sure, it had come out after FNAF 3 and everyone picked it to shreds, but it's still awesome to see a community working together together so well to put something so weird and at the time so convoluted together to make sense of a game that at that point was 3 games old. And if we can do that quickly, it was fairly obvious that we were going to do that in the future. To be fair, we didn't know why or how we were setting these things up until later, but now that the sentient game code affecting the real world is canon in the games, I think the fact that another plane of existence where the at-peace children were staying to give you the ability to destroy the man who put them there is fairly evident. At least that's what I think. The kids who didn't possess anything ended up going to that plane and they were helping bring the others there, but that's not confirmed, so I don't know why I'm talking about it.
And at 4, you're the new killer. While yes, I did start playing through FNAF VR on the channel, be sure you go watch, by the way. Share and like that video if you want more, because I'm only doing that if it gets enough views. Because, God!
Okay. Oh my. Okay, there they are.
However, I already know the end. No matter what you do in the final battle against Glitch Trap, you end up getting stuck in the game while he gets out. And while maybe it's signifying that he is taking over your body or escaping the game, what if instead he is passing the baton to you? I mean, I've already said it. What if he's taking over your body, like physically controlling it while you're in the game? That means that you're the new killer, in essence. But what if being trapped in the game will drive you insane for eternity, until you do the same thing as he did and switch with someone unfortunate enough to play, turning them into code while you escape and plan on tracking down the man who took your life? I mean, it's plausible. Scott has always been known to not shy away from big twists and reveals, like he did in this game. He soft rebooted the series. And if this game was meant to be a soft reboot, wouldn't you becoming the killer be the ultimate switch up, and be one hell of a way to start up a new story arc? I think so. And at 3, betrayal. The potential betrayal of the animatronics has been tossed around as a possibility since, we thought they'd be helping you. Hell, I'm pretty sure I've said it multiple times on this channel, but that doesn't mean it is a guarantee. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like Scott of all people would make them betray us but then double back on it like a bad TV show retcon, but everyone would love it because it's Scott. No matter, I think the possibility of a trusted animatronic double cross is highly likely if not definite. Source, trust me bro. I think if it's going to happen, it would happen in the later stages of the game, but for the second time. They'll probably be sabotaged earlier, but we will fix them and then they'll only be revealed later to have never been fixed, and then boom, you get betrayed once more. But this time, we would have never seen it coming.
Number 2, the bite of 83 or 87? Yeah. Well, we think we know what happened with both of these bites when it comes to their story, which has been theoretically pieced together by fans of the series. What if we are wrong? Or what if we simply don't have all the pieces of the puzzle just yet? It seems odd that Security Breach appears to be set in the early 80s, close to the time of either these bites or potentially the same year, without the game featuring anything to do with either case. Some theorize that what we think we know about the bite of 83 might not be the whole or correct story. In fact, it could even be revealed that one of these bites actually happened at the Freddy's Mall location that we are about to visit in this game, or that there were more bites that happened in the 80s and that perhaps they were all connected by some unknown circumstance, specifically related to the running of the various Freddy Fazbear Entertainment chains during that decade.
Finally, in at number 1, Help Wanted's Dream. I talked about Dream Theory last part, and this isn't really what this point is about, but I feel like it's important to address it. This game could be a dream, but instead of Michael's, it could be Afton's. What if this game is actually about William's descent into madness, or somehow showing us that there are 2 Williams at the same time, like I suggested in my last theory? Let's face it, the only person who could have been at all these locations is William, and after all, some code was used from the old chips to supposedly make Glitch Trap. So what if that code also generated the scenes we see in game? One of the only people to go to all locations would have been Afton to kill kids. He would have been repairing animatronics since he needs his killing machines. He would have also had to contend with the plushies like the dark rooms, and at the festival where you see Dreadbear. You can even see Glitch Trap dancing on the hill next to the FNAF 4 house. However, the key to this puzzle, since Dreadbear may not be canon, is the final minigame. The Pizza Party minigame involves you roaming around the FNAF 1 location trying to find someone. However, if you end up going through the right door, you'll end up in the back room getting pizza and cake. However, when you do, Glitch Trap will appear coercing you into where he will ultimately kill you and stuff you in a suit. But who would have seen this? Nobody but Afton. You clearly play as a child in this game due to the giant scale and the stuffed ending. However, he is the only one who would have known about this event, meaning this game could all be a part of Glitch Trap's mind, or technically William's. Jeez.